The Unusual Weapons of Lone Wolf and Cub, Part 3. We see a duel about to start. Our assassin, Ogami Ito, is on the right, and his opponent is on the left, wielding a staff. That staff is what we're going to talk about today. Now, you notice it's not the length of a full bow staff, so at first glance, it looks like a Joe staff, like the one we see here, wielded by the man on the left. So this is a classic Japanese weapon that is a little bit unusual, but not unusual enough for our purposes. And if we go back to the manga, the writers give us an indication that this is more than just a simple wood staff. The warrior being sent to challenge the wolf is told he's to use his Furizue, F-U-R-I-Z-U-E, fighting staff to shatter a woman's skull. That's not very nice. The person giving him the order is a woman too. Anyway, the clue, that one term that we're given regarding the warrior's weapon, really just means kind of any unusual staff-type weapon, but more specifically, something that has another weapon hidden within the body. And of course, we're probably all familiar with the concept of the hidden sword, disguised as a walking stick, and not an arrangement unique to Japan. Cane swords were very popular in the West for a long time, like this old one here. But it's not a hidden-edged weapon that Lone Wolf is about to deal with. It's a flexible impact weapon. My favorite kind. Hence the note about crushing someone's skull with it earlier. So in the opening action, we're waiting to find out what this thing really is. And we get the big reveal. It's a bit of a ranged weapon because a weighted chain was hidden within the haft and comes flying out. This then is a hidden version of a more overt Japanese weapon. This one here, the Chigiriki, which is a staff and flail combination. And boy, the Japanese really liked fighting flails. As you can guess, there is no standardization when it comes to this weapon. A length and material of the staff, length of the chain, size of the weight, shape of the weight, all up for grabs. Here's a training version in a demonstration from Japan. And the thing with this is, your opponent knows what you are armed with, right? It's no surprise to the typically, presumably, sword-wielding opponent. And therefore, you can't do what happened in the manga that we're looking at, which is this. Hope to surprise them with a strike that ends the fight at the get-go. But our hero assassin manages to avoid the blow, and so the duel continues, and you get into a scenario that I'm sure you can guess was a primary use case for this weapon, entangling your opponent's katana. Much like the Kusarigama, this weapon is kind of intended to be a sword neutralizer. Anyway, our hero prevails, obviously. We're still in Volume 1 of Lone Wolf and Cub. He's got to live on for many, many more adventures. Here's the result of the initial opening missed swing. A tree is broken. That would not happen in real life. And I can say that with direct experience because I've tossed my Kusarigama weight, which is basically the exact same kind of chain and weight, into trees. Although I don't have a picture of that right now, so I'm showing you a picture of me hitting a brick with it instead. Regardless, you're probably listening to the voice of the only YouTube martial arts weapons nerd to ever hold an antique equivalent, a Western equivalent of the weapon from today's manga. A stick that hides a weight and a chain flail. Here was the weight on the end. It's very small. I mean, easily fits in your fist. Just like a typical Chigiriki weight, because you're relying on speed more than mass. Our Western equivalent did feature a much shorter chain, as you can see. And one thing that I learned from handling this is that, maybe this is no surprise, but we probably wouldn't have thought about it otherwise, a hidden chain weapon, right, the chain hidden inside a walking stick or anything like that, makes a fair amount of noise rattling around inside that hollow body. And so with a hidden Chigiriki like the one from Lone Wolf and Cub, you'd have to be careful to not give away the surprise through sound. And that's it for this installment. Thanks.